In this particular lecture, we are going to discuss about functional safety assessment stages as per IEC 61511. So the basic purpose of functional safety assessment is to know that we really have everything that was needed. So we have gone through whole process of functional safety life cycle, starting from hazard and risk assessment to the installation to operation and maintenance, and maybe modification and decommissioning afterwards. But do we really have everything that we discussed as a requirement? So functional safety assessment basically does this verification or the check to ensure that you have everything that was required as in the different stages. So this particular diagram actually is the life cycle, the different stages of the life cycle. It starts with hazard and risk assessment. After hazard and risk assessment, there are allocation of the safety functions to the protection layer. Then the safety requirement specification or SRS is prepared. So these three things is covered in the stage 1 of functional safety assessment. After that, the design and engineering is covered under the stage 2 of the functional safety assessment. Then the installation commissioning is covered under stage 3. Operation and maintenance is stage 4, and modification is stage 5. So these are basically the 5 stages of the functional safety assessment. In the coming slide, we will be discussing each of these stages in more detail. Before going into the different stage, let's look into what IEC 61511 talks about the functional safety assessment. So in IEC 61511 part 1, clause 5.2.6 talks about the functional safety assessment. It calls for a procedure through which functional safety and safety integrity for each ship can be evaluated. Actions laid out in this procedure should be executed by a multidisciplinary team who are knowledgeable about the technology, application, and operation of that particular sieve. Now, it also provides guideline about the team, FSA team. For stage 1, 2, and 3, there should be a senior competent person not involved in project design. And for stage 4 and 5, there should be a senior competent person who is not involved in operation and maintenance activities. Apart from this, if our SIS population is very big and our FSA team is very big, then we can have multiple senior competent person to overlook the overall activity. Now, okay, now the first stage of the FSA. In this stage, the input is the hazard and risk assessment, layer of protection identified, and SRS developed. So mainly SRS developed is input, and we look the SRS developed with respect to the guidelines provided in the IEC 61511 chapter 10 requirements, and see whether this SRS developed is in line with the hazard and risk assessment and layer of protection identified. So the basic process involved in this stage is to review of the early phases of error, and output is the initial verification of the SIS requirements. So this is a crucial step to ensure that any mistake made early in the life cycle do not result in an inadequate safety instrumented system. Typically, this stage, the hazard risk analysis is evaluated and confirmed along with the HAZOP or LOPA reports. SRS document is able to cross-check every single SIG description in comparison with IC 61511 chapter 10 requirement. This is a very crucial stage because in this stage, if we identify errors, then it is less costly and less time consuming to correct them, because we are in the very early stage of the design. Later on, if we identify something, correcting them becomes very time consuming and many costs are involved and often results in project delay. That's why FSA stage 1 is very important. Now in the FSA stage 2, this is when your conceptual design is complete, right? So this is your input for the stage 2, and this is the process. Now you verify the design. So maybe system integrator or manufacturer have done the conceptual design. Now you verify the design, or FSA team verifies the design with respect to SRS, and output is output is approval of SIS implementation, right? So this is a critical stage, ensuring that design meets all process safety requirements before the implementation begins. Once the SIS has been built by the system integrator or manufacturer, then stage 2 FSS will be carried out before shipping the SIS to the end user. Stage 2 FSA is executed during or along with the FAT as a witness test that all SIF and SIS content as per SRS has been built correctly and tested. Typically in stage 2, SIF design requirement, SEAL target estimation, SIS SRS requirement, safety PLC configuration, application program functionality are evaluated and confirmed. So as you can see, this is a long list, and this stage is also becomes very crucial because there are still chance to correct your design. There are still minimum modification required to have the Cs as per our SRS, right? Now goes into the stage 3. Now stage 3 is basically now the Cs has been installed, pre-commissioning and validation is completed, and operation and maintenance procedures are developed. This is the final verification that is carried out before the operation. And after this, output of this activity will be the handover from the engineering to operation team. The stage 3 basically occurs after installation and pre-commissioning and validation of the SIS, as well as development of the operation and maintenance procedure. This stage ensures everything is tested and functional before the hazard is present, often making the handover from the engineering team to the plant owner or operator. This is often carried out along with the PSSR. So this stage, functional stage, stage 3 is often considered as a mandatory stage for the functional safety assessment. But IEC 61511 also tells us to not in I mean, when you are doing a particular stage, you need to look into the recommendation that are coming from stage 1 and stage 2, right? So if you miss the stage 1 and stage 2 and directly do the stage 3, and there you identify some mistake, maybe some Cs is not per SRS. Suppose there is 2 out of 3 configuration that was to be made as per SRS, but at the installation you see there is only one initiator. So that is a deviation, right? But how to correct this deviation? At the stage 3, when the plant is about to commission, at that time procuring additional transmitter, installing them, commissioning them is almost like impossible. That's why it is advisable to not to do the stage 3 directly, but to do stage 1 and stage 2 also, and then come to stage 3. Now stage 4. This is the input of the stage 4 is obviously the uh, input from the operation and maintenance team. And in this stage, the validate the assumption from the analysis and design phase, and confirmation of ongoing SIS effectiveness is given. In stage 4, which is like also kind of a mandatory, is conducted out after gaining operational and maintenance experience. It verifies that assumptions made during the C's design phase are correct, such as hazard frequencies and equipment failure rate, ensuring that C's continues to function effectively. After gaining experience in operation and maintenance phase, a periodic FSA or stage 4 shall be carried out to ensure that activities are carried out according to the assumptions made during the design. And IEC 61511 requires for the safety management and verification are being made. The frequency for periodic FSA is often driven by the regional regulatory authorities, but is typically anything between 1 to 3 years. Typically, the proof test, SIF request, field detected failure data are evaluated and validated in the stage 4. Now stage 5. Stage 5, the input is some modification that is implemented, and the process is review operational experience and perform impact analysis. And the output is validation of the modification before the decommissioning. Stage 5 FSA occurs after modification to cease and prior to decommissioning. Though not mandatory, it is essential for ensuring modifications are correctly implemented. This stage may involve combining assessment from stage 1, 2, and 3 depending on the modification scope. FSA stage 5 includes a modification activity that shall not begin until a FSA is completed and after proper authorization. Once modification activity is completed, another FSA stage 5 shall be carried out again to assess and confirm that the requested modification is meeting safety integrity requirements. The authorized management of change procedure has been followed, ensuring safety status and functional safety. Concurrently, as-built documentation is updated. So hope you have understood the different stages of the functional safety assessment and what is the requirement of the functional safety assessment in the first place.